What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. We have one of the most respected humans in this fan channel space. You all know him by now. A part owner of Stretford Paddock, a 10K enthusiast, a man of the people. It's Mr. Jay Motty, who's been on this channel quite a few times, so we always appreciate your presence. And how are you, mate?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I appreciate that introduction. A 10K
Always.
enthusiast. Yeah,
Always.
I like that. I'll have a bit of that because that's quite good because you've not said I'm any good at it. You've not said like I'm fast.
I'd have to watch.
Fit or healthy.
I
like that. A 10K enthusiast. It's like you're enthusiastic about it. It doesn't mean you're good or quick or even particularly healthy. It just means you're enthusiastic about it. I'm going to start using that. Do you know what I mean?
Enthusiastic.
Yeah, I'm a football enthusiast.
It's like a participation trophy, isn't it? It's like you participated, didn't really do anything.
He took part. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A certificate of attendance.
Yeah,
he
that's
turned
what
up.
it is.
Mate,
that's what
at least you can do a 10K. If I tried doing one, I'd probably need a defibrillator, but that's a different story for a different day. So
listen, you're a young man. I didn't start till I was a lot older than you. Start running, so you've got plenty of time.
I've got years. Before I can do that. Now we're going to kick the show off with a quick fire question section. So lads, for both of you, Sam and Jay, this is quick fire. Just please remember that.
I just want to ask you something because you said from Manchester, right? So I'm curious. I know you two are laughing because you're thinking, here we go. He's derailing the show already.
I was like, I had a bet on. I was like, how long before he derails it? And I've got 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Oh, you might be right. Okay. Yeah. Well, this is what we do. Because you said from Manchester now, anyone who's a regular on Real Reds Talk or on Stretford Paddock will know that the three of us hail from the M31 area. We are the Eccles Massive.
Mm-hmm.
So exactly, we can start somewhere there.
Wouldn't it be E like this way? Eccles, E for Eccles.
Eccles, I was going M and then 330.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then 0.
Yeah, man, that's a little thing that was just invented. Okay. So you said Manchester. So do you not say Salford? When people say to you, "Where are you from?"
Yeah.
Sorry, my daughter's just going out. Be careful. I don't know where she's going.
I don't care.
We are talking about Salford here.
She's safe. We're in Eccles.
Right.
Yeah.
So the do you say Salford then or Manchester? Because some people get a bit funny about it, don't they? I'm not Manchester. I'm Salford. Whereas me, I'm either or. It depends what day you ask me.
I have to say Manchester because sometimes you say Salford to people who are not from here. They're like, where? And then you say Manchester. There you go. Yeah, my alma mater is as well. That's where I went. University of Salford. Did film studies and it did fuck all for me. But there you go. But yeah, I say Manchester because if you say like Salford to someone, they're like, oh, they don't really know where it is, but they know Manchester, so it's just easier.
Everyone thinks Salford is Salford Keys. So whenever you mention Salford, they always go, oh, it's really nice around there, isn't it? Like, you've got all this and you've got the fucking waterfront and all that. No, mate, it's not. You're not seeing the other side of Salford.
Go to Odsal. Go to
that fucking Blackpool, the front of Blackpool, like really, it's all right. Like it's got some. You go fucking beyond that, it's a
Blackpool's
mess.
Rough, I used to work in Blackpool as a reporter, and it is gritty.
Oh,
and I was the same. I used to love Blackpool. The illuminations when you were a kid and going to the pleasure beach, and I still, I took my lad there and for his birthday
smell
last
of piss.
Year. Yeah,
I love it.
You go there, and it's like wow.
Yeah,
it is like smack head central. No disrespect to the people of Blackpool in the chat.
Yeah, big up Blackpool if there is anyone. Seriously doubt it, but we'll crack on with the show. Quick fires for both of you, right? Quick fires, very, very quick.
What's the furthest part you've heard, right? Where someone said Manchester, and it's like the furthest away from Manchester? Because that, when you're on holiday and that, like when I was young, you'll meet people and you go away from, and they'll go, "Oh, I'm from Manchester," and you go, "Oh, whereabouts?" And they'll say like,
I had a guy who said Preston, and I was like, "That's not Manchester, mate.
Yeah,
it's not. It's not Manchester.
The same county. No. That's Lancashire. You're not even Greater Manchester. Like, I get it if people can say like Wigan, Bury, Alderby, Rochdale.
Bury, really?
It's Greater Manchester, isn't it? I get it. I understand it, and I understand that for some people, like if you're from Bury, you should say Bury. But they might. I think some people think if you're talking to some Cockney, they don't know Bury. What is that?
Bury Market,
but if you say,
world famous.
Yeah, if you is it? If you say Manchester, do you know where that is?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I get that there's, but I think Preston is pushing it. That's ridiculous.
I was a guy on holiday. I was literally like in Greece, and he was just, I'm from Manchester. I was like, where are you from? He's like, oh, Preston. I was like, it's not Manchester, mate. He's like, it is. I was like, no, mate, it's like 35 minutes to drive there. It's fucking not Manchester. Like, it's just not.
Mate, I remember once when I was in Magaluf, and I met this American, and we was chatting, and I went, I'm from Manchester. He went, oh my God. I was just chatting to a girl from Manchester. Sarah, you probably know her. Oh yeah, it's my cousin. Because we're such a little village.
Yeah.
That's all I need, the first name. Yeah.
Just a small capacity of 250,000 people.
She lives on my street.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Sorry, anyway, do you want to get on with the show? Stop.
No, you. I tell you what, lads.
Can you name all the Manchester
You let
boroughs?
me know.
Can you name them all? Can you name all the great Manchester boroughs? The great Manchester boroughs.
No, I mean, I'm pretty good at geography.
Is there 11? 11 boroughs?
I think, is there 10? I think
it's 10.
Yeah.
What's a borough?
So like Trafford, Salford.
It's where the council
Manchester.
is. Like the council, Sales
Sale.
in Trafford. Sales in Trafford.
Oh, I don't fucking know, do I? I'm not like
Sale.
the Lord of Sale. I don't have a clue.
Davy Hume, yeah.
Davy Hume.
All right, well, why don't you tell me what the 10? If you're Mr. Knowledge, go for it.
Right, okay. There's Trafford, Salford, Manchester.
Is Bolton's a borough,
Tameside,
isn't it?
Bolton.
Yeah.
I think the Tameside and Stockport, I think, is one.
Yeah.
Then there's Wigan, Rochdale, Oldham, Bury. I think those are your 10.
You've done your research before you come on.
And Steve have done this question before.
I'm still pissed off.
Do you know what? Not to name drop, but I did ask Andy Burnham that when he ran for mayor.
Yeah.
I did say, can you name the 10 boroughs? And he did. I think it's 10.
You'd be pretty fucked if you're running for, mayor of Manchester and you don't get that right.
Impressive, surprised. For a Scouser, he knows all 10 boroughs of Manchester for a Scouser.
That's mad that we've got a Scouse mayor. He got away with it though because he's an Evertonian.
Yeah.
If he was a Liverpool fan, he wouldn't get anywhere near City Hall.
No.
There's someone in the chat who's just put Blackpool with a smiley face, so there is someone from Blackpool.
Sorry.
You know yourself more than anything.
Hollandly Filed is lovely.
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're going to try and do quick fires now. Again, if you want to go off in your own direction at any point, do go for it. But we'll try the quick fires, and this is for Jay and Sam.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we'll go to you first, Jay, and then Sam. We'll do it. Each answer like that. Player of the season so far for you, Jay.
Gosh, we're scraping out. We're scraping
the barrel.
Every single option is flawed, but I will go with Bruno Fernandes.
Sam.
Garnacho.
Your best memory under Erik ten Hag?
Personally, I'm going to go... Do you know what? I am going to say the 4-3. Yeah.
I agree. 4-3 against Liverpool. I agree.
Yeah, I think that's my best memory in about 5 years, to be honest with you. Genuinely.
Yeah. Rank the managers post Fergie, so from best to worst.
Best, I would say. Right? I know. I hate when people give you quick fire questions, or you give some quick, and they start asking for, details and what. Are we saying the most talented, the best that made you feel, the one who is literally the best manager,
most successful,
the most successful? Right? Okay. Best to worst, then most successful. If I'm going to be pretty basic about it, Jose won 2 trophies, got us to second place, 81 points. I'll probably put him top. Second, I'd put Ollie. I know he didn't win out, but we were competitive in the league. We were top on New Year's Day. There was a time when I actually got deluded enough to think we had a chance of winning the title under him. Third, I would probably put Erik ten Hag just over Louis van Gaal. And then behind them two, I'd put David Moyes, and then it'd be Ralph Rangnick at the bottom. Forgive me if I'm missing anyone. I think there's only Michael Carrick. He was only a caretaker. I got Cowan in.
I'd swap Ten Hag and Ollie, but the rest of it I agree with.
Interesting. Most controversial opinion on this current squad? Something you fully believe in, but you're like, not sure if a lot of other people would agree with that.
That's a really, really good question. Most controversial opinion on this squad. Jesus wept.
Sam, as well, equally, if you want to throw yours out. I imagine you've probably got some controversial ones. So
yeah, I'll keep it light for this one. I think that Dallo isn't as good as everybody is saying he is.
Interesting. Interesting.
It's not really controversial. It's pretty obvious. But I think there's a conversation to be had that Andy's our worst ever signing.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
If this season was a movie, what would it most accurately represent?
Jesus Christ.
Take your fucking pick with this one. Because there's a few. Titanic.
Have you ever seen the film City Rats?
Yes.
No. Of course, I've seen every film on the planet.
It's one of those rare films that has 0 on Rotten Tomatoes. Right? It is terrible.
It is awful.
It's Danny Dyer at his very worst. Danny Dyer at his I'm skin, I need money worst. Yeah. Same as Hassan's in it.
He's phoning it in as well. He's not even trying.
Yeah. He can't be bothered. It's like he's probably on a bit of the snizzle, allegedly. Yeah. And he's just like, listen, just give me 500 quid so I can go and see my dealer.
Yeah.
It's a glorified home movie, right?
Okay. You
watch that film, and I remember watching it, and I hadn't seen any reviews. I just say my Hassan's all right. My mate had it on DVD. He's like, I've got this film. Danny Dyer at the time, we didn't really mind him. Like, stick it on. It might be a bit like Football Factory because those two are in that, which was all right. Started watching it. It started off really bad, right? You're thinking this is awful. You expect it to get better. Somehow it gets worse.
Yeah.
To the point where you're actually thinking this might be the worst film I've ever seen in my life. And then you get to the point where you're going, I've put up with this for 40 minutes. It's awful, but I've wasted 40 minutes of my life on this. I'm going to stick with it and get to the end just so I can get through this and sort of watch it all because I've already wasted so much time and effort watching the first half or whatever. That's how I would compare the film I would compare this season. It is genuinely one of the worst seasons, if not the worst season I've ever experienced as a United fan. Seriously. I'm too young to really remember the season when Atkinson got sacked.
Yeah.
Fergie's worst ever seasons were, again, I was a bit young. I don't really remember them, being brutally honest. My first proper memory of Fergie is winning the FA Cup. I mean, I went to games before then, but that's my first, memory.
Yeah.
And so, from 1990 to now, I think statistically, we haven't had a worse season. And it feels like.
And we'll get into that shortly.
Yeah.
Sam?
Do you remember the first 15 minutes of Up, where it just emotionally devastates you? From his wife dies, he's alone, the fucking dog, you're just destroyed within the first 15 minutes. You're like, I don't even want to watch the rest of this.
Yeah.
That's it. That's how United have made me feel. I don't even want to watch the rest of the season at this point. I'm just fucking so over it. And even if there is a happy ending, which for us would be the FA Cup win, I don't think it's happening. I don't see it happening.
If United were a film this season, we'd be like a porno film before the shagging started. That's what
just the build up, and then it cuts. It just stops.
Just the bit where it comes to fix the
and it just
fridge,
stops.
And they just start fixing the fridge, and then it stops. That is how bad we've been.
What's the timestamp on that one? Because that is 13:07. That's the clip for today. Thank you very much for that. That's what he's here for.
Speaking of porno, should we talk about last night?
Just before you do that, can I just read out a couple of shouts in the chat? Ronnie Dodge says Titanic. Red Devil says Bruce Almighty when the asteroid hits. John Wick put the opponent is Keanu Reeves taking endless shots. The season's like the first 15 minutes of Up meets Titanic, and the club is the ship sinking. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, my joke got ruined, but we'll move on. Yeah, we'll speak about last night, Jay. I don't really want to talk about it, to be honest with you, because we're supposed to be a football channel, but, well, technically anyway.
Listen, you know me, I'm a stickler for topics that are on point. If you want to discuss anything else,
we will. We'll get
got the wrong guest.
We'll get
I demand that we talk about football and football only. That is in my contract. When I sent over my contract through my agent to you guys, you read it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this. Jay sends us over a contract.
He also requests to be paid in German Deutschmarks for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah. I have a fee. My agent has a bunch of stipulations. I expect a limo to pick me up to take me to the studio.
Yeah.
And I demand a chilled Pepsi Max Cherry every 5 minutes.
I love a chilled Pepsi Max Cherry.
Nice.
Right up there.
But yeah,
anyway.
you did your watch along. You hosted Andy Tate and Joe and Macca and all that sort of stuff, but you didn't really sort of get to express.
He
went in, did it?
Right.
He went in.
He came out. He was upstairs, and Andy came down for his review, sorry, because I love Andy. He's a great guy, very good friend, and like when we have him in the studio to watch the game, he's just so loud and angry sometimes. We should
have to send him upstairs.
Yeah, so we let him watch it upstairs, so we can, and I like to give him.
We send him. We send him.
But he's there with his mate as well. He's not on his own. He takes his mate with him. And also give him that 5 minutes after the game, just come downstairs and hopefully calm down a little bit. And he didn't. He just got angrier. And he came down and he was raging. And I was trying to chat to him beforehand because I thought, let him get it out of his system a little bit. But it was just building and building and building.
It's like, switch the camera on.
Yeah. It was like, the more he spoke, the angrier he got. And we always make sure as well, we don't want to stitch Andy up. Because sometimes you say things in a heat of anger that you might regret, or it gets clipped up quite a lot. But we're not here to sort of completely censor him, and I get his point. And with one at MUFC, if he's got anything critical to say it, and you'll see that in his videos. So yeah, he was fuming, and you know, I think we put everything on the video. We rarely cut anything out. I think we didn't that last night. So yeah, he was absolutely livid, and it was weird because McCullough, he can get angry, McCullough, but the thing with Macca is when he gets angry, he doesn't. He
shuts down, doesn't he? Just fucking.
I've done a watch along with Macca where he stopped talking for 30 minutes. Headphones
just trying
off,
to carry the minute
headphones.
and you're like, what the fuck?
Pushes his mic away, and it was just
sulk. Yeah.
And
we've been there though. We've all been there.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, we have, and I get it. It's authentic. That's
exactly.
You said before
you
at the top of the show, you said we're an authentic channel. I respect that, and I'm not one for. If you watch football with me, I'm not one who's constantly ranting and raving. I'm not like that. I do a little bit, but I'm not like all the time. I'm a bit of a sulker and a bit like. So yeah, everyone has sort of the personalities came out. But last night, Macca wasn't even sulking. He was like, he was kind of done with it all.
He was over. He's over it, innit?
Yeah, he was like, I'm just used to us being rubbish, and I can live with it. And it's sad because that's when. You know it's getting really bad when you're not even that surprised anymore. Yeah. You're getting battered off Crystal Palace, which, let's not be silly about it, isn't it a regular occurrence? No. We've lost to Crystal Palace. How often did he put 4 past us? Hardly ever.
I don't think ever, have they?
I think that's their biggest win over us. So let's not normalise it. It isn't the run of the mill. But it felt like that because we've just been so poor. And also, it was kind of predictable when you saw that team. Look at Crystal Palace, what they've been doing. They've had some good results recently. I think they beat Liverpool not long ago. Yeah. I think they've had 3 successive.
Beat Newcastle as well.
Beat Newcastle. So they can't, Eze and Elise are on fire. The kid Wharton, who everyone's raving about, is obviously doing well. Mateta's doing very, very well indeed. And they were missing the best defender in Mark Guehi. I know he came on, but he wasn't even starting. So you've got to give them their credit, but it doesn't make it any easier to swallow. It was horrible from a United point of view. Horrible.
It felt like, do you remember that watch along we did, Nick, for Brentford in Ten Hag's first season? And we were sat there, like me and Nick were basically sat there, and I think we were 3-0 down in the first half. I don't think we said anything for the last 15 minutes of the half. We sat on a watch along saying nothing.
But
we didn't know what to say.
We're out of words, man.
I on the preview for that game, I saw that coming, right? I remember watching the Brighton game and thought, we've not gelled here at all. We've not got our act together under this new manager. In pre-season we looked good, and in that Brighton game we didn't. And then I thought Brentford are a good team who know what they're doing under Frank, and I think they're going to give us a game. And in the preview I predicted a 3-0 loss to Brentford, a 3-0 win to Brentford, sorry. And the amount of grief I was getting, oh Jay, you're off your head. You're trying to, you're better than that. What you're trying to say stupid things for clicks? Well, I'm not. I believe that. I believe we'll get turned over, and then. It turned out I was being too kind. Yeah. I should have said.
Me and Sam got it fucking spot on last night. We did the pre-match thing. We got it at exact same way how it went, pretty much. Called it word for word. Because it's just, you watch the team week in, week out. You do analysis on it. You yourself, obviously, you'll know. Like, you just know him inside out, and you know what they're capable of, and they know what they can do. So it's not a surprise anymore. Like you said, it's just, you kind of expect it, and it's sad.
You shouldn't. It's for sure. Listen, teams can get beat. And they can get beat badly, I know it was his first season. Pep Guardiola, I remember getting beat 4-0 at Goodison in his first season at City. It happens to any team. Fergie got battered 6-1 at home to City. That's Sir Alex Ferguson's prime United team almost. I say prime, it was one of his, prime teams, but not his best team. You get my point. So it can happen. The trouble you've got with Manchester United at the minute is it happens pretty regularly where if we don't get battered by a scoreline, we certainly get battered in terms of performances. You look at the Brentford game. That performance against Brentford was probably worse than you saw last night. It was on a par at least.
Yeah.
I know we drew, but we conceded so many shots against Brentford. We were very fortunate that they didn't finish any of them, or only finished one of them. So yeah, that's the really troubling trait that United have got in a minute, is we're just consistently poor.
Yeah. Should we go to positive, Nick? Should we talk about something slightly more positive?
This will be a short segment on the show.
Yeah. I wanted to talk. Obviously, you touched on your favourite moment with Erik ten Hag with the 4-3 at Liverpool. So if we take ten Hag out of the occasion, we've been on a bit of a roller coaster the last 10, 11, 12 years. But there have been moments post-Fergie, I think, that have been positive and genuinely will stick with me. Is there any moments for you that you'll tell your grandkids when you're taking them to maybe the new Old Trafford and you'd be telling them, oh yeah, I remember this shit period of United, but there was these moments and these losses. Is there anything that sticks out to you where you're like, yeah, that was a good time, just so we've got something positive to fucking talk about?
I think one of the sort of real special moments for me as a United fan, and not just post Fergie, as a United fan in general, this is one of the sort of most emotional, uplifting and needed nights ever was Stockholm. I was in Stockholm. So win that Europa League 2 days after the arena attack, where I had City fans wishing me good luck. Yeah. Unironically, like, listen,
that felt weird, didn't it?
Aside,
so weird.
Yeah. I mean,
sometimes more than football, isn't it? Like,
it was. Listen, I hope you guys, I hope you do it today and sort of give us that little bit of a, positivity at what was a horrendous week, the worst week you'd argue in Manchester's history. I don't think there's any sort of debate about that one. So that night, it was an emotional occasion because a lot of people I was chatting to out there, I was reporting as well, and people felt a bit guilty going. It's like you feel like you shouldn't be leaving Manchester, like we should be staying, and I get that. But to win it the way we did, obviously getting in the Champions League, on the emotions of that night, it was something special. It was weird as well because it's not completely 100% elation, because of obviously what's happened is still a big part of it. But it was needed, and it felt uplifting, and it felt like, you know what, it gave you that little bit of hope that after what was a real shitty 48 hours, we'll get through this. Do you know what I mean? Like we'll be all right as a city and as a sort of a community, if you will. So yeah, that was special. Other occasions or other periods or other moments, I think the Martial goal against Everton to get us through to the FA Cup final, that was pretty special. And
Paris under Ollie.
Under Ollie.
That was one of my moments. I watching that, I got vibes of under Fergie last minute winners getting through to finals and stuff. That was something special. And it's, that feeling you get on the back of your neck with your hair standing up and stuff. I've not had many moments like that. Liverpool game recently, and that is probably the two moments where I've had that feeling on the back of my neck probably since 2008 against Chelsea in treble final. I've not had many of those moments, but they were definitely a couple of for mine. Nick, you got anything?
You know what? It's recent, but I felt like after the Erik ten Hag win in the Carabao Cup, I know it's only Carabao Cup and people call it Mickey Mouse and whatever. Like, I understand it.
Hey, but Liverpool having a parade for it. They're having a bus stop parade. So
I just mean, like, for the past 10 years, we've had nothing but shit, and it's been a cycle of relentless, just fucking, maybe we'll get there, crash. Maybe we'll get there, crash. Having that, I actually felt like I feel stupid now because look, we've just been fucking slapped off Crystal Palace 4-0, but I had optimism and I thought, you know what, this guy could be the one. Like, I feel it, do you know what I mean? You see him dancing on the pitch with fucking Anthony and Lissandro, and Dalot and Rashford are running on. And
he brought Cobby on, didn't he? Brought Cobby on and was like, this is you.
His shoulder, yeah. And I'm sat there and looking at him like, yes, finally, I can see a fucking path. And then obviously my blinkers were on because the same shit happened again that we've had with previous managers, and we're sat here talking about Crystal Palace slapping us 4-0. So, yeah, upsetting.
It's sad, isn't it? It's sad.
Yeah.
Should we move it on to Ten Hag, if we must?
Let's do it.
We've asked you this before, Jay, and I'm not going to ask you if you think you should stay or go because it's boring at this point, and I don't. It's a complex issue.
We know you very well.
Yeah. Do you think the decision is made now, though, regardless of what happens in the FA Cup? Do you think he's done and it's over, and Ineos have made a decision?
I do. I've said this a couple of times today. I've done a couple of radio interviews, and I've said the same thing. I would give him more time. I don't think he'll get it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox, Omar Barada, Dave Brailsford, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe being okay with this. I just can't. I just don't see them really believing that this manager has got what it takes to manage Manchester United Football Club. And it's sad to say, because I'd like to see him be in the dugout next season. I just don't think he will. And I think they'll be looking around now going, okay, who's available? Who can we get? Who can we work with? I know you can argue, okay, well, Dan Ashworth, I think he's still on gardening leave and he's still not sorted out whether he can move to Manchester United. They'll get that over the line. Ineos will make that happen. Omar Barada, I think, doesn't start till June or whatever it is. Again, is he not going to be watching football? Is he not going to be just at least...
There's a WhatsApp group in there somewhere.
Of course there is. Let's not be silly. Yeah. He's not like, well, I can't do anything yet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And he comes from a club in Manchester City where they're hardly sticklers for the rules.
Yeah.
So I think I wouldn't be surprised if they're already looking at it going, all right, who's available? Do we wait until... United could lose the next 3 games. Or was it 4 games?
3.
Yeah, so Arsenal, Newcastle, Brighton, City.
And City, yeah. Lose the next 4 games. And you go, well, the season just ended terribly. The manager's lost the plot. The players aren't playing for him. It's all horrible. We need to get rid of him. And you've left it till June, and it's like there's not many managers, or there's not as many managers left that you can get. Or you could say, look, even if he was to turn this around in terms of winning the FA Cup, we're still not going to be in the Champions League. Probably not going to be in the Europa League. The football isn't great. We've got players that he's brought in that he's still sticking with because he's brought them in that aren't doing what they should be doing. Is it time for a fresh start? And I think they'll go for a fresh start. I do. I think they'll bring someone else in. And it's sad, man, because it's going to be the 6th manager in 11 years, whatever it is.
Another 2 years wasted.
Yeah, and it'll feel like that. And I'm with you when you said about the Carabao, and it felt like, okay, something's happening here, something's moving forward. Sorry, I forgot who said that.
Nick.
Yeah, sorry. Nick, when he said that, and it was like, okay, yeah, I'm with you. I felt the same way. And it wasn't a moment where you look back and go, yeah, this was it. This was the beginning of something special. Unless I'm completely wrong and we know Ineos do stick with him. It just feels like the one thing, and I keep saying this, what you know about Ineos and Brailsford and Ratcliffe, they watch the games. They go to the games. They sit in the stands. They're not like the Glazers. The Glazers, you could go a month and the Glazers probably won't even check the results.
No.
Yeah.
So you could turn around to Glazer win the FA Cup and say, won the FA Cup. They go, you won a trophy. Oh, well done. You can just not tell them about all the other results. Brailsford and them lot are sat in the stands listening to the crowd booing your substitutions, watching awful football, watching a team that looks like it's just met this morning. And I think that's going to influence the decision. And I dare say they're listening to some of the pundits as well, because you've got pundits out there, not just ex-Liverpool players and whatever. You've got some ex-Reds, ex-United players who are saying, this manager's done.
Scholesy was pretty harsh, wasn't he, last night in his assessment? I was listening to him.
Yeah, didn't he say he thinks he's done?
It felt like the Watford game.
Yeah, I mean, that's Paul Scholes, one of the greatest United players ever. But not someone who's got an agenda. I don't think he cares about, clicks or attention or saying something for the sake of controversy. I think he's giving you his honest opinion. Yeah. And I think his honest opinion is that this guy's not cut out for it. And whilst I don't completely agree with it, I understand it, I get it. I think you can only watch so much awful football before you start to question its manager. I'd like to see him being an opportunity. I don't see it happening. I think the City game will be his last game as manager of Manchester United.
I agree.
Let's throw an outfield question there then, because I'm not going to ask you about the managers, because I appreciate Stretford Paddock. I watch enough of it to know that you've discussed it in depth in terms of.
You can ask whatever. I mean, whatever you want to ask.
But
I don't mind.
I wanted to ask something that's out there. I know you don't mind. If an alien came from outer space, took Eric Ten Hag away in the little UFO, whatever you want to call it, and he was like, right, one of these players, I've got a manager for the next season, for a full season. Which player do you think would get the best out of him? Who do you think would suit as a manager in the current crop of players?
I'd like to say something a little bit more insightful and
go for it.
Surprising, but I think the obvious one, if you had to choose someone out of this squad, let's not forget, we haven't exactly got a whole plethora of leaders and people that you associate with players that you'd want to move into the coaching staff. But I think Johnny Evans is one of those. I think you look at Johnny Evans and you go,
it's good
I think, look, he's the only one in that team who's won Premier League titles. Oh, yeah, I think he is. And he's won a few. He's got that maturity. He handles himself well. He obviously he's an intelligent footballer. You can tell that in the way he plays, and I think he's got a bit about him. So if you had to choose someone to take over, I think Johnny Evans would be the most obvious choice. Also, as well, I don't want to go all Nigel Farage Brexit, but he speaks English, which is a bit of an advantage sometimes if that's your first language. It does not the be all and end all, obviously, but I could just say Casemiro. I think his English isn't that great because he's someone who's won a lot and he's very experienced. Would he be someone that perhaps can communicate as well? I mean, you can always get an interpreter, and I know he does speak some English, but I just feel like Johnny Evans would be the obvious candidate for me. Yeah. And you never know; we might end up being in the dugout next week.
Yes, maybe.
Yeah, good. Maybe. Lining up for a job. And Sam, just before you give your answer, can you change the title to Jay Motty sides with Nigel Farage?
Yes, absolutely.
All that
again.
All the clickbait stuff.
Jay voted reform at local election.
Yeah, perfect.
No, they're not right wing enough for me.
Sorry.
I call them woke. Yeah, wokies. In my opinion. Call yourself right wing. This is pathetic.
Yeah, okay? Love it.
Where's the death camps? Where's the trains? Sort it out.
Yeah, you know what I mean. This isn't a Union Jack. Get a grip.
Right, let's do something fun because we've talked about enough bullshit and enough depressing shit.
We'll finish with this, shall we?
You and Scotty do a really funny segment, Agony Uncles, on your podcast, Scotty and Motty. I have scoured the internet to find some genuine agony uncle, agony aunt questions from people, and I want you to give the best advice you can for them. Just imagine, Nick, you can join in as well. You could be Scotty.
Awesome.
Okay. And Motty. Right. So I've just inserted the name. So it's just say, Dear Motty, my flatmate keeps borrowing my watches without asking. I find this very annoying, especially when it's the Breitling. I assume Breitling's an expensive watch. I don't know anything about watches.
Yeah, pretty expensive.
There you go. Anyways, this is my lucky watch. How can I stop him without seeing him really uptight?
Right, if you've got watches and you've got a Breitling, like, why are you even sharing a flat with anyone? Why don't you just get your own mansion?
See,
sorry,
I'm not that observant to see
that. The butler keeps nicking my caviar.
Outside the box.
It's. Do you know what? I've caught the gardener pissing in my swimming pool. What shall I do? I don't want to be, sort of. I don't want to moan too much, but I know, we are in a cost of living crisis. But I keep getting my Chardonnay served at room temperature by the maid, and it's causing me stress.
Yeah. What should I do?
Move out. Move to a mansion in Hale Barnes, you absolute top.
Yeah, perfect answer. I just to add to that as well. Just make up some fucking fabricated lie about it. Say your granddad sneaked it through Austria in his gooch or something, and just fucking make it seem it's like this timepiece that's precious. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they won't touch it.
Hide the receipt.
Go the opposite way and just fucking start borrowing his stuff without asking it. That's the way I'd go about it. Right. And yeah, tick for tack. Sorry.
The other end of the scale, so we've gone from really posh top, we've gone to the other end of the scale there. Dear Motty, I am happy and living carefree in my yurt in a park, but my brain tells it's like a fancy tent, basically.
I've never heard of that. Yeah. Sorry, continue.
Educational.
But my brain tells me I'm not good enough, and what do I do when it tells me to get a job, be more productive, and a 9-to-5 member of society? My true self doesn't conform very well. Help, sincerely yours, Ayla the Yurt Dweller.
Yurt Dweller?
Yeah.
I've never heard that word before.
Never have I.
So he's living in a yurt.
Living in a yurt, and he's got no job, and his brain is telling him he should go get a job, be more productive, be part of 9-to-5 society. What should he do?
I feel like, what's his name? Adolf.
Ayla.
Adolf.
We're going back to right wing there. Let's not go there.
Sorry. I was about to say, I think living in a yurt is the last of your problems you're going to do. Listen, I quite like this. I think, you know that thing, right? We've all been there.
Yeah.
When you lose the plot and you think everyone else is mental when it's actually you.
Yes.
But I think in this case, this guy might have cracked it. He's living in his yurt. He's in the park. He's all right. He's living his best life. And it always makes me laugh when people say, my brain is telling me. It's like he's having a conversation with someone else there. My brain is telling me Do you know what I mean?
The police are telling him. Yeah.
The voice is in my head.
Get the fuck off that park.
Get off the park.
Yeah. I think you should just crack on. Like, live in your yurt, live off the land. Happy day. It depends what park you're in as well, though.
Yeah.
Goddy's Park. Go over Goddy's Park. Godfrey
That's a nice park. In
next to Godfrey Erman Primary School. The park next to there.
Oh right, yeah. Well, this is what I mean. If you're in like, that's a nice. I used to live near there. Yeah, that.
Still do.
Erman Road.
Yeah.
Is that where? Yeah, near the blockhouse.
Right.
Yeah. I used to live near there. If it's there, if it's the Eccles Park near me, the Alan Heading Memorial one, that's quite nice. But if it's a bit gritty, if it's like Princess Park in Earlham.
Yeah.
Also, it only takes one kid to say, "Mummy, I've just seen a man in a tent," and you're getting absolutely lynched with them down there. Trust me.
Also,
nothing more than a bit of paedophile hunting around them parts. Trust me.
If you're drunk out your mind and you see there's something in your brain that's telling you to set it on fire at some point, isn't it? When you're on your way past, and you'll find your yurt burnt to the ground at some
without
point.
knowing that the body's in
my
there.
My oldest daughter, she said to me, she came downstairs the other day and she went, it was like 1 a.m. I fell asleep on the couch. She went, "Dad," this is how she said it. She went, "Dad." I went, "What?" She went, there's a fire in my room.
There's a fire?
What? Yeah, she went,
there's a fire.
I've lit some candles and they've got out of control. And there's a bit of a fire in my room.
Was it that slow?
Like
the
that.
Delivery?
Yeah, like she was just saying, "Dad, I've, the cat's in my room, whatever." So I sprinted upstairs and there was like a little mini inferno in a room where she put all these candles together and then she chucked water on them to try and put them out and it got worse. It wasn't a drama. I put a wet towel over him and it sort of calmed the situation and it's dealt with it. The fire went out. Then the smoke alarm went off and Mum comes running down the stairs because we're on the 3rd floor. And she's like, "What's going on here?" And it made me laugh because her brother and sister didn't even wake up when the smoke alarm was going on. So that was a bit of a wake up call.
Nice.
But yeah, the way she dropped it, she just was like, "Yeah, Dad, there's a fire in my room," like that, like no urgency. No, I was like, "Oh my god, yeah!" It was like amazing.
That's how we knew you're gonna announce it to Tenag. Eric,
Eric. There's you don't need to worry about the travel arrangements for the cup final.
Don't need to renew your passport.
Sorry, what?
It's fine.
Yeah, you're not going. You're sacked.
All right. Final question, and then Nick's got something for you at the end. Jay Motty, I recently stayed in an Airbnb in the wilderness in Canada, and how would one get a moose out of a semi-collapsed basement in a house which you're not supposed to be in, and the owners are going to be home tomorrow?
That is a predicament.
You've got a moose in a semi-collapsed basement in an Airbnb.
In an Airbnb, and the owners are coming back tomorrow. How'd you get it out?
I would flip this on them, yeah? I can't believe you gave me this gaff where there's moose running around wild and the basement's collapsing, nearly killed me and my entire family. You are very, very lucky. I am happy to settle for just £5,000 compensation and I am not pushing for more because I'm not a litigious person, yeah? So you give me all my £5,000 and I'll be on my way. Flip it round and then so we're not giving you £5,000. You're not having anything.
Imagine the faces though. The faces like that.
Do you remember the Peter Kay joke where he said, "Get a can of spaghetti hoops and pour it on the wall, and then take photos of yourself like that"?
Yeah.
Just with the moose, just be like, "What the fuck?" Do you know what I mean? Just put that in the review. Just pictures you. It's just like there's a moose.
The 3rd day of this holiday, I was bathing my children in moose piss. That's all I can say.
See, I've gone the opposite way. I've gone. You probably need a moose whisperer first and foremost. A strong pair of hands. Yeah, strong pair of hands, and then tranquilize it, and either put it. I think so. Someone will be. Listen, you go to America, especially South America, somewhere down there. There will be a moose whisperer. Let me tell you. I'm talking about like Mississippi, all that kind of area. There will be a moose whisperer.
I think they live in.
So when you say South America, you mean North America?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No,
they live in. I think they live in Canada, Nick, in the Rockies.
You don't mean Argentina or Brazil? Or
no, I don't mean. I don't want to say it then. I thought no.
By the way,
I don't mean that. Yeah.
I've just googled the moose. Do you know how big those fucking things are?
Oh, they're big.
They're massive. They're like 8
does my head in
feet.
That moose on TalkSport. He's a right whopper, isn't he?
Which one?
Moose.
Honestly,
There's fucking
the moose.
There's loads
Ian
of them.
Abraham's the moose. He's called the Moose, isn't he?
He's called the
is
Moose.
Have you never heard of the Moose on
No.
Talk Sport?
What's his name? Is that
Ian
name?
Abrahams. Oh, man.
Right. Okay, yeah. I just didn't know.
Absolute Muppet.
Yeah, there's a few of them.
Yeah.
What was is that answered now? Are you
Yeah,
satisfied with that?
yeah. Like we'll flip it round. We'll tell the Airbnb owners, and then they have to panic.
Or tranquilise it and call it an ornament. Either way, you sorted. Right, to wrap it up, Jay, because you've been very generous with your time and we always appreciate it. This is just a bit for myself as well, a bit of a selfish question. What is the biggest challenge you faced as a United content creator and how did you overcome it? Just to leave the viewers with something before we head off. Some wise words of wisdom, if you will.
I think that one of the biggest challenges you face is whether you've got that ability to take the plunge and just really go for it in terms of content creating, because you can either do it as a hobby, but then you get to sort of, I think everyone gets to this point when you're making content where you're at a bit of a crossroads and it's like, look, is this just going to be a hobby forever, or am I going to take the plunge and make this my career or my job? And I got to that point like 5 or 6 years ago where it was like, okay, look, enjoy what I'm doing, making content. I could probably make a living out of it. Do I want to do that though? And obviously for myself at the time, I think we just had my 3rd child, so there was like
big decision, isn't it?
Yeah, big decisions. I had to have that decision, that chat with my missus. It wasn't just up to me, and we obviously took the plunge. And I think that is the biggest challenge. I think anyone, like you guys, make fantastic content. That's why I love coming on here. You know, you've raised the bar very quickly in what you're doing. You know, you've had guests on like Kieran Maguire, like Laurie Whitwell, early doors, which. Oh, I listen. I'm buzzing. I'm not trying to belittle you in any way, but we've been around a long time, and I'm chuffed to bits if we can get those types of guests on the channel. So to do it when you're starting off is phenomenal, and it's a credit to the work you've put in and the fact that people have that willingness to come on a channel because they know there's a credibility there, they know there's an authenticity there, and they know they'll probably enjoy themselves. That's why I do it. I have a good laugh with you guys. But I think you get to that point where you go, okay, we've taken this as far as we can now in terms of as a hobby. Are we going to take the plunge and go for it? Is this now going to become a career? That is, I think, a decision that comes to every content creator. Some, and there's nothing wrong with this, don't get me wrong, will say, do you know what? It ain't going to be a career. It ain't going to be my day job. I'm just going to do it as a part-time thing or a hobby or a pastime. And I get that. But then you still got to make that decision. And I think it does happen, that decision, for pretty much everyone. Every content creator who's doing it to a decent level will have that time where it's you know, you're having that conversation maybe with yourself, like my man in the yurt, where you're just going, am I gonna do this as just a hobby, or are we gonna take the plunge, go full turbo and make a career out of this? And I think that is I haven't got the answer to that question in terms of what you should do. It's up to you. But if you can make a career out of it, you can do it as a full-time thing, or you can do it as something that's more than just a hobby, go for it, man. Do you know what I mean? Very fortunate if you make content, even when United are rubbish, but you enjoy doing it. I enjoy doing it. Even when United are terrible, I work with people that I like working with. I make videos that I want to make, and I'm talking about a subject that I love. So that would be my only bit of advice, is just prepare yourself that at one stage or at some point, you're going to have to make that decision. And if you can, and it's a big if, then go for it, man.
That's what me and Nick want to do. Like, I work a full-time day job in digital marketing, which it goes hand in hand with this, really, because it's a similar sort of concept. It's advertising, working out what customers want, clients, clicks. So it's kind of handy for what we do. And me and Nick are planning, like, we want to be able to get it to a point where it is our day job. And eventually, I don't want to be on camera. I just want to focus on basically what producer Ethan does. I want to do all the tech, the creative and all that. I don't want to be on camera anymore, but at this point I'm enjoying it because it is a hobby at this point. But when it does become my day job, I want to transition off, whereas Nick wants to take it to like your level, Steve House, and all the creators he looks at, he wants to go to there, and I want to be behind the scenes pushing it, and that's the plan. So hopefully we get to, if we can get to like half of the subscribers you guys have got to, I think we can call ourselves pretty successful.
It was just that, just the connection as well, like just how it is, how it's fucking balanced out, how everything's nailed on. If you get to half of that, then fucking
you got to look at what you've got. You've got a massive advantage there already, because you've got two of you, both, I know both yourself and Nick are learning production side of things and know about production side of things. You've got that. Both of you can present, so you've got that. you're already coming from a place where you've got 2 producers and 2 presenters. Also, you're coming from a digital marketing background, which 100% ties in what you're doing. Yeah. You've got that authenticity. You've got good contacts and relationships with people that can help you on the channel, or that can come on the channel, or appear on the channel. So, you know, you look at that, and you look at other people, what they've got, where they've started from, and they've not got that. A lot of people are on their own. They haven't got a co-presenter who they're close to, and if they have, it might be someone they just met through Twitter or whatever. They haven't got any knowledge of production. They haven't got any contacts. They haven't even got any. I'm not saying people can't do United channels from everywhere. Of course they can. Some of the best United channels I've ever seen are people in you know, India or America or whatever. But you know, you're coming from a place where you both go to the game. You're quite close to the vicinity of Old Trafford, which can have its own advantages as well. So I think you got to look at those positives and think, you know what, we're actually coming from a very, very strong base here, where we've got a lot going for us already. And I think I get where you're coming from as well, Sam, because I'm like that in terms of I'd like to not do as much on camera moving forward on Paddock. I enjoy, listen, I have a crack doing content with the lads. I love sitting on the brewery stay. I love doing off the bar with all 3 of them, and I love, me and Joe do so many videos together, and I genuinely, you know, laugh constantly with that guy. He's so funny. But I will get to a point where I'm doing other things. I'm not on camera as much, and I'm organising more stuff, and I want to do sort of more content, not based on United, in other areas. You know, obviously recovery and alcoholism and stuff, and drug abuse is something that's close to my heart. I do appearances on podcasts based on that. I've done live events on that, appearances at live events on that. So that's the field that I'd like to go into more. So I think you should always sort of branch out where you can. But yeah, you guys are smashing it, and I've no doubt that, you know, if you wanted to, you can make this full-time job.
I know Nick wants to say a lot. I just wanted to say, like, thank you to you, because every single guest we've got on so far that we have no right to get on, like you said, has been open because of you coming on. Every time we've dropped your name, they've gone, yeah absolutely. And like most of the time we'll put in and we'll get ignored or whatever, but as soon as we put your name in there, they're like, oh, Jay's been on. Say Kieran Maguire was literally go, yeah, Jay's class, I'll do it. It's to say, like, I mean, you've literally opened every single door for every single guest, which is ridiculous.
I appreciate that, but you know, they don't listen to me because I told them not to. Kieran messaged me.
Do not fucking go on it.
Annoyed because he messaged me after the event. He went, "Oh, I went on Real Red Talk the other day," and I went, "You did what? You did what?" I said, "Bro, the only reason I go on there is because I walk out my door and sometimes I bump into him. They live near me,
and I have to almost.
You know what I mean? I have to in case you start getting aggy.
Yeah.
I mean, get a grip of your life, and then I find out Laurie's done the same. Honestly. No, it's good. Listen, these guys, they're not just going to take my advice. They're going to come on there. If you ask anyone on your channel, the first thing they'll do is they'll go on your channel and have a look at it. And if they think you've got 2 plonkers spouting drivel, they ain't going to go on there. They see that you guys know what you're on about. They see that there's good content that you're making. It's fair. You give people the opportunity to come on. And what I love coming on your show as well is, well, this is a good thing you do. And I think there's not enough people that do this who make content. You get a guest on and you let the guest chat. You let them talk. You ask them questions. Now that might sound basic, Bob. Trust me, I watch a lot of content where and it's not even on YouTube. Sometimes it's on the telly.
Yeah.
Where the guest is secondary to the host, telling, you know, just talking constantly and you know, being the one that's the center of attention. And there's nothing wrong with engaging and debating or whatever you guess. Sometimes people forget that you've got a guest on there for a reason. Like, let them talk, ask them questions, get them doing different stuff. And you guys do that and you do it very well. And when you do that with a guest, people think, do you know what? I'll come back on there. And I'm in a privileged position where, you know, I can sort of say no to people if I want to. And I say yeah to you guys because I enjoy it.
Do you think you get the flowers? Sorry, this is the last question. I mean, I can talk about it, but it is the last question. Do you think you get the flowers for that, though? Because I know you do a lot of that. You help very small creators out. You go on their channel, and I don't think a lot of people kind of... I don't know whether if they notice it or it is something that you don't really get your flowers for, in my opinion.
I get a lot of stick off Steve. He always says...
I remember you mentioned
he's like, Jay will be on a channel where there's like, you know, there's one person can come and watch it on a live, and that's you know, me missus or whatever. But I come from a background where I was a journalist for years. My job was to reach out to people and say, you know, can I get you to comment on this? Can I get you to interview me on this?
Exactly.
Oh, can I interview on this? I'm used to it. I know what it's like when you're starting off in YouTube, especially. It can be quite hard. And you know, I've always been of the opinion that you give people opportunities, or you let, you know, try and help them out. Just it ticks a lot of boxes for me. It's good practice for me. Can never do enough practice. It's just chatting about United and honing the craft as someone who contributes and stuff. B, you meet some good young content creators who might teach you a thing or two, show you, you know, little things that you didn't know. Or you guys have both been on my channel on Stretford Paddock. You know, it works both ways. And I just think it's an important way to sort of pay that back. And I think more content creators should do that. And I get it. I get when you get to a certain level, you might be like, well, I'm not doing that unless I'm getting paid, or I'm not doing that unless there's something in it for me, you know, extrinsically.
There's a lot of that. There is a lot of that.
And there is a lot of that. And I kind of understand it. I get to the point where you get to a level when you don't have to do all this. And I understand that. Yeah, but for me, I'll always do it. And I think it's something we should, you know, we're in a community together. And I think, well, we can, you help each other out and listen. The only bit of advice I ever give to journalists is don't burn your bridges.
Yeah.
Don't burn your bridges, man, because it's a small world, journalism. It is. You cross paths with so many people, and it's the same with YouTube, and it's the same with content creating. You know, you'll be amazed at how many times you might go, oh, actually, that kid who I went on his podcast once, or I might need to get hold of him. He might, you know what I mean? Or I noticed he had someone.
Networking.
He had someone on. Yeah, that matters, man. It does. It just, you know, I did a project for my last when I went back to you know, I went to Salford and did a masters, and I did a project at the end of my masters. And honestly, the amount of people I reached out to, I'd not spoken to for years, because I needed, like, there was a time when I wanted to get some drone footage. I wanted to film the Etihad, because I was doing it about a boxer that had been born in Clayton near the Etihad. And I remember I couldn't, like, to film there was just dramas, man. It was like you had to fill out a million forms. Permission was just non-existent. They weren't going to let you do it. Like, Sky couldn't have used the drone over there, let alone me.
Yeah.
But what I did was I reached out to someone who works at the city who had drone footage. The club had drone footage. And that was someone I've not spoke to. Literally, when I was going through my messages, our last message between each other had been 6 years ago. Yeah. And I was like, "Hey, bro, you okay? Long time, by the way." And it wasn't just that. I reached out to, we mentioned Andy Burnham before. He was on my documentary because I reached out to his office and I'd interviewed him when I was a reporter. Loads of different people that I'd spoke to over the years who I knew, and were like, "Oh yeah, how's it going? All right, okay, yeah, what you doing? Yeah, no worries, you know, we'll help you out." Little things like that can make a difference. You know, little things where you might end up looking for work and someone's got an opportunity for you. You get a message off someone, Jay, you know, or they might say to you guys, "Nick, I'm at, I don't know, TNT, and they're after a couple of United fans to talk about the new manager. Are you available?" It happens a lot, man. So I just advise, you know, people not to burn the bridges, because I think that it's easy to do that, and it's easy to start thinking, "I've made it now, I don't need to deal with these people ever," and it's so short-sighted. I would never ever do that, because I'm not that way anyway, and that's not my sort of personality. But I also think, just from a professional point of view, just, you know, keep people on board, man. Keep working with those people and keep them on board, because you never know when it can help you in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What a perfect way to end it. That was, I really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed
just
it.
I've got one question for you guys.
Please do. Please do.
Because I'm going to go and watch the Dortmund game shortly.
Same.
Jadon Sancho. Right, I've got two questions. Sorry, I lied.
Yeah.
Jadon Sancho wins the Champions League.
Yeah.
Do you want him back at United?
No. You talk about burning bridges.
Yeah. No, he showed himself up to the manager, and you can't show that sort of disrespect to a manager and then expect to be trusted under another manager. Like, it's just, whether Ten Hag's here or not.
I agree completely with everything you've both said. Second question: Thomas Tuchel wins the Champions League. Would you have him at United?
I don't know why the balloons fell down.
Yeah, what the fuck was that?
Fucking random.
I don't know what happened there. Did someone press a button?
Fucking Tuchel, and they've just gone like that. Yes.
Celebration!
I was 2 steps away from going like that.
I don't mind Tuchel. I think this. I'll try and make it a small answer because I have a kind of thing on this. But Tuchel at Bayern there's a lot of shit going on upstairs. You've had Oliver Kahn leaving, sport director. There's been a lot of chopping and changing, and he's getting a lot of criticism. But it's not just him. I think it's the board level and things that are going on. So I actually don't mind him. I remember him coming in at Chelsea when they played, and under Lampard they had a leaky record. And
he had the same thing at Chelsea as well. The board's a mess at Chelsea as well.
Yeah, and he's come in, and the defensive record instantly. You had that kind of German steel, and you could tell straight away he had an effect on the players. I know he clashes with certain players. But I think if he's backed properly under Ineos, it could be interesting. But I'm not fully sold on him, for me personally.
There's no...
Go on, I've not even asked you. Sorry, I didn't let you speak. Go on.
Sorry. There's no standout candidate for me where I look and I go, that's the guy. Like, when Ten Hag was hired, Ten Hag was the guy. You had Pochettino and Ten Hag, and I'm like, Ten Hag's the guy to take us forward. There's nobody out there where I'm like, this is the dude who's going to revolutionise Manchester United. And I think if Ten Hag wasn't at United and he was a manager available now, we'd probably be going for him. He'd probably be the one we go for because there's nobody else out there. Maybe Tuchel aside, but I think he's not a long-term manager. If you want to bring him in for 2-3 years, stabilise the ship and get things going, fine. But he's not a long-term solution for me at United.
I agree. My only sort of caveat to what you both said is, if we were to get rid of Erik Ten Hag, I think out of the list of managers I've seen, Tuchel would probably be my choice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want him.
I think he's the best. He's the best available.
Yeah, but if you're offering me De Zerbi, Southgate, Potter, and Morim, I'm looking at Tuchel and going, out of all them lot, he's the one who's won the Champions League. He's the one who's won. I know it's only the French league, but he's he won it, didn't he? He's the one that. Yeah, well, he's been at Chelsea. He's been at Bayern Munich. Listen. It's been a bit of a shambles at Bayern Munich. They only just won that first Bundesliga under him, I think, on the final day.
Yeah.
And then they got the backside handed to him by Leverkusen this season.
Yeah.
And it's a picky, but, if he was to become a double Champions League winner at two different clubs that going into those tournaments weren't the favourites. No. Bayern Munich weren't the favourites this season. And I know he's not won it yet. And this is why I said if he did win it. And Chelsea were... probably the
team they had that they won the Champions League with.
Ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Even going into that final, I didn't give him a chance.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like you might need someone like Tuchel if Ten Hag goes, who's going to come in and go, you're dropped, you're sold, you're dropped, you're sold, you're not as good as you think you are. He's got
the authority as well, hasn't he? Like, he's got Champions League backing, so they can't be like, who the fuck are you? You're like, I've won the Champions League.
Yeah. So I just think that out of the choices available, even if it is a short term, and you might need that. You might need someone to come in, just go through that squad with a scythe, just go right. There's 10 of your players gone.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's get some younger players in. Let's do whatever, and then in 2027 or whatever, another sort of longer term manager comes in. So. Yeah, I just thought I'd ask you. I agree with what you both said. To be honest with you, it'd be interesting to see whether the Champions League has any bearing on either of those two people.
Good question, Jay. You could tell you used to be a journalist. Very good question.
Thank you.
Could end up having a manager swap. Who knows? Ten Hag going one way, Tuchel going the other.
Listen, strange things have happened. I think you nailed it before, Sam. I think you mentioned about sort of Ten Hag and his reputation and stuff. And I think there is in Europe, I don't think Ten Hag's looked at as a bad manager.
No.
I don't think he's looked at as someone who's like, oh, this guy, he's fell off.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a lot of teams and clubs out there who'll go, remember what he did at Ajax. Look at that first season at United. He's only 54, so he's still relatively young in managerial terms, and go, look, if you've got a decent setup and a decent squad, you can bring Erik Ten Hag in, he could do bits for you. So, yeah, maybe there is. I'd like to see him stay, but if he does go, then I don't think he'll be short of offers.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And of course that game's going to be kicking off very, very soon. So I'm going to go keep an eye on that very closely and see if Tuchel can get to the final, because I think that heat is going to fucking mount up if he gets through to the final. And if he wins it, my God, the noise from the Tuchel camp that he's ready to return back to the Premier League.
Imagine the Bayern board, they've had 4 managers turn them down because of the mess, and then the manager they're firing wins the Champions League.
Well,
that's mad, isn't it?
Since 2016, a manager's only stayed as long as 2 seasons, like when Ancelotti left and all the others, Kovar as well, I think it was. 2 seasons and then gone.
Yeah.
They struggle to replace big players. It's a mess. It's not as bad as United. Don't get it wrong. Like we're a fucking complete mess. But Bayern,
let's have it right though. Like Leverkusen have absolutely smashed it because it is a one-horse race in that league.
Oh yeah.
Like it just is, and like it takes something very, very special to break that. Klopp did it with Dortmund, then he did back-to-back titles, and I think in his first season was it like record-breaking points tally or something to do it. Yep. Leverkusen been unbeaten all season. Like you have to do something spectacular.
And could win a treble, like kind of.
Yeah, like the Scouse treble. Yeah. Like, well, not really. They're better than that because it's a title as well, isn't it? But they've done something special in terms of winning every game. Not winning every game, sorry, being unbeaten. And it just takes me like that because the German league with Bayern Munich. Because what happens is, and I think it'll happen.
Just going to take all their players, aren't they?
Yeah,
just take all.
They'll go right. Okay, who's the best players? Let's get them. Let's have him. Maybe even the manager. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's try and get him. I wonder whether like Leverkusen might have one more season because I know Alonso's going to stay there where he can do what Dortmund did with Klopp, keep him, and then retain it because Dortmund retained it, didn't it?
I think Alonso wants the Madrid job. I think that's what he's waiting for because I know Ancelotti's contract is up next season, and I think he wants that Madrid job. That's why he turned Liverpool down. That's why he's turned Bayern down. He wants the Madrid job. So one more season at Leverkusen, and then he takes Madrid. I think that's what.
And you look at that Madrid job as well. If you're going there, you've got Vinicius Junior, you've got Bellingham, you've got Mbappe going there.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean,
it's disgusting, isn't it?
Players.
Fucking disgusting.
I know they're gonna lose. Like I think Modric might be going, and Kroos might be going as well. But they've still got some players, and they're gonna get players, and they're gonna go big, aren't they? Again, they've just won a title. There's a chance they win the Champions League as well into this season.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean that is a job and a half, that, innit? If you're not going there, like.
And what you can work with as well. He's a young manager as well, isn't he? So like you think about the years he could stay there if he's successful potentially. Scary for United in Europe.
I'm just so relieved that he turned down Liverpool.
Same.
Yeah.
Because them getting Alonso in would have been horrible, wouldn't it? Because he's probably
successful,
the best coach you can get in a minute.
Yeah.
Like, I know he's a bit of a flavour of the month, or whatever, but he looks like a guy who could be a special coach.
Yeah.
And getting him in there.
They'd never shut the fuck up about it either. They'd never shut the fuck up up it.
That's the biggest disappointment for me when Gerrard went Villa and failed. Was I was gutted, but partly gutted because I wanted him to take over from Klopp because he would have been a fucking disaster.
So good.
And they would have stuck with him.
Oh yeah.
Longer than they should have because it's Stevie G.
Yeah.
And they'd have been stuck in fucking 12th.
Yeah.
Sticking with him because of who he is.
Yeah,
as he just destroys that fucking team, and I was gutted when it all went belly up at Villa because then it was like, well, he ain't gonna take over from Klopp, because that would have been funny.
Yeah, for sure. Just before we leave, can I say we're on 4,978. That number, what Sam just said there. If you can be so generous to subscribe, please do hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 5k at least before the end of the season, before end of next week, whatever you want to call it. So we'd really appreciate that, and leave a like on the video for us as well. Jay, you know exactly what I'm going to say to you. Always appreciative of your time. You don't have to come on and you don't have to chat to us, but you always do it anyway. And many more opportunities on top of that. So I think from both me and Sam, it's a big, massive thank you.
Absolutely.
No, keep up the good work, lads. Always a pleasure. Have a good laugh, and it's not like a chore coming on here. We do have a good giggle. And M30 in the house, yeah.
There we go. Decided? We've got it. We've got it.
I can't do it. Yeah. M30.
There you go.
Yeah, man. 44 years old, doing gang signs.
Right, take it easy, everyone. Enjoy the football, and we'll see you tomorrow for the 12 o'clock show.
Peace.